Well, good evening, everybody. I'm kind of wrapping a few things up here in the office. Then we're going to go outside and enjoy the day. If you're catching us on the replay, we appreciate that so very much, more than you know. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, you share us out. Subscribe to the channel. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm trying to do a couple little things. We won't get too excited about things until people start joining us anyway. It's a beautiful day. All right. I've been working hard all morning, all afternoon, all day, just trying to get some things done. We're supposed to get some storms tonight, it looks. So that's on the schedule. It looks like a storms. But we're going to hang out. It's springtime. You got to expect heavy storms. Man, I've been moving the plants around today. You know, with the good weather coming, we can move the plants into the other part of the house where there's not as much. Well, oh, some of these go out. That's where some of these go. All right, crap. I was looking and said, man, I have too many house plants. I don't know where some of these go, but now I remember some of them go outside. Oh my goodness gracious. Sometimes it's hard to be brilliant, you know? So, all right, I know now, I got to remember that. Some of these plants go outside. Maybe I'll move them out tomorrow. It's supposed to be in the 80s tomorrow here. All right. Got a couple people watching. Thank you for that. Let me get my drink. Let's go outside. And we're just going to sit and rest for a while. HDN, hey, how are you? Matthew Johnson, hello, hello. I'm going to sit down here in a second. I just got to grab my Gatorades. I won't be bouncing around, I promise. All right. How's everybody doing today? Hope you're doing well. All right. We're going to try to do our first outdoor the back patio sit down of the season. So, Matthew, I am doing good, man. Henry, how are you? It's been a busy day. Spring's here, so we get excited and want to try to clean and organize and throw away and all of that good stuff. So, yeah, it's been busy. Not too busy. Doing good, just rebuilding the engine of my old car. Good. And how's that going, Henry? Sorry, give me this here. I need to work on my old truck, clean it up somewhat. I need to take it in down the road and get those back doors latches fixed, but I guess it's no hurry. We got so many other things we got to do and worry about. So, but Matthew, how's your day? What's going on in your part of the world? And thank you for the thumbs up, by the way, everybody. Whoever's hanging out in the background, feel free to come forward. If you got a YouTube channel, let me know. I've just started rearranging plants, and the outdoor back patio area is still a mess from the winter. So once we get a few more nice warm days, and I know it's going to be nice and warm for me, I'll get the power washer out and clean up the back of the house and the patio and the furniture and get everything back into place the way I like it so that we can enjoy the outdoors here. It's going good, and I'm putting in AC and heat into it. Nice. Okay. So I know you're going to have to put, what, an air conditioning compressor on it. And then it didn't have a place for a, man, I can't even think what it's called now. A heater well. So maybe the car didn't come, so the car never came with heat and air, or never came with heat. So it didn't have a place where that heater unit is stuck up under the dash. So are you putting one like in the engine compartment, or up on how the heater going up under the dash, or going in the engine compartment? I did get the hummingbird feeder all cleaned out and refilled. Hummingbirds are becoming soon. Man, my ceiling fan's really nasty and dirty. Been working on finding all the paperwork for this house, so hopefully if we're blessed enough that we can sell this place this year, we got all the documentation and everything that's put into this. Under the dash, okay. Heater core, that's what it's called, heater core. Heater core, yeah. Because I've changed, when I was young, I helped change a couple of heater cores, and they were not an easy thing to do. Not an easy thing to do at all. But luckily now, if I did that, if I try to call under, man, I'd break my back. But man, we're having good weather here. Henry, what's your weather down there? Checking my dogs. And the dogs are excited because they can come outside and all of that good crap and bark at the birds and cause trouble and raise hell. And okay, and that's in September or October? I couldn't remember when that is, Henry. When is that? We're going to be in Alabama next month. In April? Yeah. We're coming to Alabama in April. So we're going to go to Foley, Alabama. And Mobile, Alabama. Yeah, it's in October. Okay, I thought it was. Well, that's plenty of time. That's 4 or 5 months. You got plenty of time to get that done. I don't know. And we'll be living in Alabama by the time October rolls around. I sure would like it. I don't know if that's the case or not. But sure would like it. We got a lot to do, and we got to figure out a lot of the finances, of course. When we do sell this house, we're going to sell it for sell by owner to start with. We're hoping to be there, but we're going to hot in the upper 70s. Yeah, it's in the low 70s here. It's a light breeze. Yeah, it's about a good hour from you over on, you got to go across the, into Mobile from the bay. So not real far from you. But we're going to go down to the Foley area. We're going to look at Foley, buying a house there. We're looking at Fairhope, Dauphin. We're looking at all those cities up the coastline on the east side of the Mobile Bay is where we'd really like to live. But, we got to worry about Lorelei and the job. Whether, she's working online, then it doesn't matter. Because we'd really like to live where we got some elbow room. A little, maybe an acre of land, 2 acres of land, a little bit, but my wife doesn't like to drive to work, and so that, can be a problem. I'm hoping down the road she can get a job working online, which is not as easy people think it is. Not real jobs. Not real jobs. There's a lot of sales jobs, like for cruise ship industry, where you work for them and you're trying to go out and make cold calls and getting people to take cruises, but there's not a lot of real jobs. And what we're going to do we're going to go over in Mobile. We're going to spend some time in Mobile, and quite a bit of time over there, looking around the neighborhoods. And it might sound kind of crazy to a lot of people, but what we're going to do is I got a map. I got houses that we like, that we've seen on the internet for sale. I've gotten those addresses written down. We've got a map. We're going to pin on a GPS. We're going to drop pins. We're going to go to each of those towns, see which ones we like, which vibe we like, and then what neighborhoods in those areas that we like and don't like. Going to go look at the fishing, the piers. Like Fairhope looks like it has a really nice fishing pier. I don't know how good a fishing it is, but like that. How far it is away from like Orange Beach seawall. Dauphin has stuff and parks. Yeah, we're going to check everything out first. So we're going to eliminate neighborhoods, hopefully have a better sense that when the timing's right, we know where we want to go. And look, we're resigned to the fact that we may have to sell this house and rent a place. And I'm working on that. I'm hoping I can rent a house or an Airbnb for about 3 months, because that's usually long enough to get into another house. But so we're going to be looking at all that area. And then we're going to be looking for where all the Asian stores are. We're going to look for where you can buy fresh seafood. So, Lorelei being Filipino, fresh seafood is actually something fairly important to her. So we're going to be looking for that. And, but a lot of it is we're looking for quality of life. So we're going to be looking at parks, places to go, what the downtown areas look like. We know Foley pretty well. We know Foley, Alabama, is a lot like Branson, Missouri. It has all the outlet malls and that stuff. So we know Foley pretty well. We know Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, but we couldn't afford to live there if we wanted to. And we don't really want to live that close to the water. We want to live back up a little bit. And so I got this whole list of things that I got to figure out when we go down there. We're only going to be there a week. So I told Lorelei, and we may bring a friend with us. He's thinking he might want to move down there. So I told him he could come with us. We're going to stay at an Airbnb outside of Foley, Alabama. And we've already got that booked. And we're going to try to, I don't know how we're going to work the days out, but with the traffic and everything, I know we're going to drive down on Saturday, and then hopefully Sunday, when there's less traffic, we're going to go drive around certain neighborhoods that we're really looking at in Mobile, Alabama, where I would figure on a Monday, the traffic is really heavy. So we're going to try to do that on Sunday and or in the evenings. Then probably Monday, we're going to spend the day going through Foley, spend more time in Foley, and or drive over to Fairhope and drive our way up the coast all the way to Spanish Fort. So that's partly what we're going to do, is go through there. And then we're going to look at the other little towns like Richardson and some other places that are staggered away from the water up there. You hate downtown Mobile, just crowded for me. Yeah, it's a very happening area. And we're not into that, but we're going to go check it out. Apparently, there's a party district where the clubs and the bands are and the restaurants and people, a real lively nightlife, I guess. There's also a lot of historic homes and all of that. Those houses are awful close together, so we're not too excited, but we're going to drive through there and try to get a sense for it. There's also another place that's kind of surrounded by, I think it's called the Dog River, and the houses there look kind of ratty, but it looks, I don't know why it's ratty, but some of the houses look kind of dumpy when they're surrounded by a river. I would think that would be a nicer place. And then we're going to go to, some of the other areas down off Interstate 10, where all the industry is and the growth is, and work that area and check it out. But what we're really interested in, we're going to do some fishing. I'm hoping every evening we're going to get to do some fishing. Yep, I know about the party area there. Yeah, they got some beautiful historic homes, but we don't want to live that close to people. We, Tillman and places like that, which is further away off Interstate 10, is more like this, but older neighborhoods. But they have much bigger lots. And that might be okay if Lorelei decides that that's where we need to live so that she can get a good job easily in all those. Because along the interstate going into downtown Mobile, there's all kinds of businesses. And they're dumping all kinds of money into the Port of Mobile. If we live on the east side and she has to drive over the bridge every day, she's probably not going to be happy about making that big of a drive. So if that's the case, we got to look for on the east side of the bay areas where she could go to work. And I know she could always go to Walmart again and probably get hired on as a manager again. But she has a good job now, a little bit more higher level than that. And but we're going to be looking at what businesses are all out there in Foley and companies, not just businesses, but real companies, and take a note of that. So all of that stuff, any transportation companies, all that. So yeah, that's what we got to do. But we're going to go to downtown Mobile. We want to go see it. We've driven through it a number of times, but never really paid much attention. And I don't think we would live what they call the Triangle, which is their nice downtown area. Anything, around the Triangle is nice, apparently. But it's not our vibe. We truly would like to live over on the east side where we have a little bit of a country life, but still can get to a Walmart and do all of that. So we'll just have to see. She's going to be looking for an online job, and she's hoping that maybe even her current company, she's going to try as we get closer, it's no hurry right now, to see about working online for them. But I don't think that's going to happen. We can't count on that, but she's going to look into that. So that's partly what we've been doing the last week or two. And we're getting excited. I got the fishing gear ready. I know we're a month away, but I got the fishing gear ready. I'm thinking about, because we're going to take Lorelei Subaru. And luckily, we're only going to be there a week, so we don't need to take a lot of clothes, even though we always overpack. And, but we got to take the fishing gear. That's always a challenge. Been there a lot over the years, but still hate the city. Yeah, we're not. I mean, Lorelei is. Lorelei didn't mind living in the city in the Philippines, but I think she's changed her desire. I don't think she wants to live in a city in America like that. So, and I don't want to live there. No, it's not my speed. Because we have the same kind of vibe here. Downtown Bentonville has become, Bentonville has become a nightmare. I mean, it's just, not good. We would rather go to a smaller community and even live outside that smaller community where we got a little peace and quiet. But we'll see how it goes. But we got to put the dogs in the car in the kennel. We got a kennel that we put in Lorelai's car. The dogs don't like it for the trip. And then our luggage and the fishing gear. We got to take some groceries with us because we're staying at an Airbnb. And instead of buying all new groceries when we get there, Lorelai will take, some rice, and we'll probably have to take the rice cooker just in case they don't have a rice cooker. And we'll take our groceries and some cooler full of drinks so that we don't have to buy them because we already have them. Gatorade and V8 juice, all the stuff that we already had in the fridge, we'll pack it up in a cooler and take with us so we don't got to buy. But we're going to go out and eat. We're going to go eat some fresh seafood the best we can and check out some of the local restaurants and have all that. So if I haven't said it, thank everybody for being here. Give us a thumbs up if you haven't already done it. We appreciate that. And subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hey, there's our good friend Crystal Lynn. How are you? How are things? Hello to you. And how are you? We hope you're doing great. What's going on in your neck of the woods? Sounds about right. So, yeah, Lorelai's really good at packing the car. So I'm going to let her do that. But we're only going to take 4 fishing poles. And I'll narrow my tackle down to 1 bag. So we're not taking everything I own. But we'll take 4 poles, 2 ultralights, 2 regulars, the dogs, suitcase, clothing, food. So her car will be loaded. I'm good, thank you. And not much happening here in Alberta, Canada. Well, that's understandable. Alberta, I've never been there, of course, but it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot to be done there. I don't know. I mean, I don't know Alberta, but I know it's a big area, but, But everybody say hello to everybody. It's always a good thing. But you can always come to America where we have a lot going on, If our 2 countries don't go at war. Oh my God, this craziness between, I guess we know who wants to be your new prime minister, right, Crystal? I guess that Doug Ford guy wants to be your prime minister, so he's trying, that's why he's doing all of this, is trying really hard to get his name out there to be elected prime minister, I guess. Is my thought anyway. And maybe he will, I don't know. I don't know the guy. But it's a little crazy. I do think, globally, maybe it's a time for the world to reset itself. Maybe it's time for, every country to kind of take stock of their own business, pay their own bills, just manage better themselves, be better stewards of the environment and of the people and of the government, And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with people being. So I know it's still winter for you in Canada. Our good friend Dennis, who lives up there, he's down in Mexico enjoying the beaches. He flew away to get out of the cold weather. So we heard from him the other day. He's like, got to go to Mexico. And he goes to the west side. I think the west side of Mexico. Really, Doug Ford as prime minister. Mark Carney was just elected, so I'm thinking, I didn't know you guys elected a new prime minister. I didn't know that. I didn't, because I don't know your politics, to be honest. I just figured as much running of his mouth that he's doing, as much TV time he's trying to get, I figured maybe, like in America, that's what you would do. If you're a governor and you want to run for president, well, my God, you start getting out there on the TV talking about all kinds of shit and get excited and, and get your name out there. Oh, elected as the leader. Okay, I got you. Okay, so you have the Liberal Party. I got you. And so then the race becomes, okay, I got you. So I don't know, Crystal, but Is Doug one of the liberal parties? I mean, I really don't know. Is he or is he in the opposition party? But and didn't he have the brother who was a drug addict and got arrested for prostitution and all that stuff? Joe and Jenny, J3's in the house, evening, day, and all in the chat. Everybody say hello to everybody. So Crystal's here, Joe's here, Henry's here. We got some people in the background that looks. Give us some thumbs up. And of course, if you're new in the background, don't be shy. Well, Joe, this is my first day sitting outside. Well, I went fishing yesterday for a little bit, but sitting out in the backyard, you know, I know it looks like it's going to rain here. So we're trying to do that. No clue, you follow on Terry. Yeah, that's what I mean. It sounds like your politics is more complicated than our politics. You know, it really does. Which I think is interesting because I think all politics is like watching the Keystone Cops, you know, I mean, or Moe, Larry, and Curly. It's like the Three Stooges, you know. But it's all right. So, yeah, things are exciting. You know, nothing real exciting in America, to be honest, either. No, my grass is dead. It's still, now, my grass, so what it is dead. It will start greening up, let's see, probably 2 to 3 weeks. Once we get, you know, a bunch of warm days and we get, and this week is our first week where we've had warm weather. So, you know, in the 70s. So you give this a few more days, and if we can get some rain to water it, it will perk up fast. I do have a lawn care service that treats it. So they weed it and feed it and spray it. And they're going to be here next week to feed it. And then, but the problem is when it turns green, then I got to call my lawn mowing guy and have him come mow the yard. Well, I don't put anything on it, but yeah, the people come, it doesn't need any seed, but because partly what I do is I let it reseed itself. When a grass gets so tall, there are times like at the end of the year, I tell my lawn mowing guy, like, here's what I want to do. And he knows this, he's been doing my yards for years, is I want the grass to get tall enough that it has seeds and it drops the seeds, then I want him to come mow. And so it gives extra seeds into the soil. And then he goes back to mowing. Probably usually one more time, and then we're done for the winter or done for the summer. But they definitely will treat it for weeds, and they will give it fertilizer, the company. My Views, Your World. Hello, everybody. How are you, My Views? What's going on, buddy? You can always paint the grass. I know. I see that. I see where they do that and where they do the hydro seeding. So, Crystal saying hello to you, My Views, Your World. Thank you for doing that, Joe. Thank you for being here, everybody being here, saying hello to each other. So what's going on in your world, My Views, Your World? So, yeah, it's ugly right now. It needs to be mowed. I have a nice house. That one, the blue one behind me. That one. Oh, I can't point. There we go. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. It's okay. You know, to be honest, there's things that we like about the house, and there's a lot of things we don't. We don't like living in this part of the country anymore, but this house is okay. Just not ugly, it's blah. Yeah. But you can tell, well, you probably can't tell, but it definitely needs a nice cutting. And my lawn mowing guy will call me in a couple weeks saying, hey, you ready to start paying me to come mow your grass? Hey, Henry from My Views, Your World. We'll be getting storm tonight. Good. Joe says, Joe lives a few hours from me. So usually when he gets storms, I usually get storms, but you can tell by the clouds behind me that we got storms on the way. And see, this is, you know, it's a beautiful night, so we got people walking their dogs everywhere. So my dogs go crazy because other dogs are walking. Slow, yeah, you're in the Philippines, right? So you're in the Philippines. Did you get a place to rent yet? Are you still hoteling it, or what are you doing? Yeah, girls, enough, I said. I love to plant flowers. My wife loves to do the vegetables. She, and I got her some Filipino beans that she's really tickled about to grow in, Crystal. She likes to grow the vegetables. I like to grow flowers. But I'm one of these weird people that I knew when we moved back to America that I didn't want to live in Arkansas and I didn't want to live in this house forever, even though we had it built. That I didn't put a lot of money into flowers here because I think it's a waste because I can't take them with me. I can tell from the humidity. Yeah. Well, I can tell by the weatherman. The weatherman said so. I'm renting a studio right now. Okay, good. That's all right. But yeah, when the house that I lived in for a long, long time, like over 12 years, man, I had beautiful flower beds. And I put a lot of time and energy and money into those. And once we get permanently settled, this is not where we're going to live forever. Then I will invest a lot of money. I like to grow lilies. I'm a big fan of calla lilies, tiger lilies, peonies are some of my favorite. You name it, hostas. One of my own roommate things was one of the best in flowers and planting things, but that's because she had the experience. Yes, yeah. I'm thinking I might want to upgrade though. It might be nice. Might be nice is the upgrade cost me. Oh, really? So you can get a nicer place or bigger place for less money. That is kind of funny. Yeah, we looked at a lot of condos in the Philippines when we were living there, and I hated all of them. They were so freaking small. Even the big ones. I said, no, look, you gotta show me the biggest one. No. But we do got some flower pots. They're all kind of put away for the winter, so we're going to be digging those out, and we'll start getting some flowers going. We grow marigolds a lot. Nice. I think all the flowers are beautiful. There's a lot of value in farming communities. They just seem to unite. They do. I agree. And yes, I agree. I agree. I agree totally. So, and Lorelai loves to grow vegetables, and she likes to give them away, which is fine, and that helps you meet and greet people. And we want to live further south in America where it's a lot warmer. And here you only get about 4 months of growing time, maybe 5 if you get lucky. And so by the time you get the plant from seed to plant to fruit, you're lucky. You're lucky. But if we can live like down in southern Alabama, we're going to make raised flower beds and raised gardens, and do the soil right, and we want to set down roots. But I can't wait to build another calla lily bed or a lily bed, tiger lily. I love the tiger lilies. Just love them, absolutely love them. So, and they spread out. The tubers keep growing, and you can harvest them and move them around, and they're hardy and all kinds of good stuff. So we're excited about that. And maybe down in Alabama, we can even grow some snake plant or mother-in-law's tongue outside. So there's a lot that we're going to try to grow a mungai tree. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a tree in the Philippines that they eat the leaves of. They cook the leaves, and it can't handle frost. But we're going to try to grow it in the house if we get the right house. If I got a space, I don't have one in this house. But if I get the right space, I can grow the tree and trim it and keep it like an indoor bush. So, 6 months for summer, where, here? Yeah, 6 months in Alabama maybe, then you got fall and spring, which is warm. In Alabama, southern Alabama, you're looking at about really, and Henry's down in Mississippi, not very far from there. You're talking about really 2 months of cold weather where I can't sit outside. Here I go about 4 months to 5 months where it starts getting too chilly for me to hang outside. And but when we had the house with the pool, I mean, it was like clockwork, believe it or not. You won't believe this, but every year it was like clockwork. What is it? Memorial Day would happen, and the pool would be warm enough to swim in. Labor Day, we might get a week or two after Labor Day, and then we'd have to shut the pool down because the water got too cold. So you barely get 3 months of really good summer in this part of the country. And I mean real summer. So you get about 3 months of it. And so we would open the pool a week or two before Memorial Day and close it a week or two after. But during that window, man, it was the only time it was warm enough. And there was times that it took quite a while, even the summer, to warm up, to get that water warm. Because I personally was just too darn cheap to turn the gas heater on and heat the pool water when I know it was just going to go away. You could see your dollars being. And my wife, Lorelei, really wants to do a koi pond. And here, if you do a koi pond, you got to dig deep below the ground so the fish have a place to go to get away from the frost line. Oh, it's all it would be is boundary lines. There's no real rules. It would be about your property line, and you have to stay so many feet away from the property line. That's it. But you could put an in-ground pool in or above ground pool, which I think are crappy and not worth the money. I would never do an in-ground pool. I think it's just a big gigantic waste. I owned a house that had a very large pool, beautiful home, and my pool was in ground. It was guntonite, like concrete, and it sat where it was actually elevated about 4 feet. So we had stairs, and the way the yard and landscaping was done, you come up to it, but the back of the yard was level with it. And so you got boop, 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 swimming pool, the rest of my yard, and it was great. I know in some places regulations require you to have a certain fence height. Yes. I don't know, to be honest, about the fence thing, if it's a requirement where we live. I do know that we had a privacy fence. Come on, Daisy. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Come on. Hang on, I gotta pick Daisy up. Hang on. I gotta pick my dog Daisy up and put her in the other chair. She's too fat to jump. Okay? My dog's too fat to jump in this chair. All right. Come here. Sit. All right. Sit down. Good girl. All right. Oh, we have wiener dogs, Chris. I didn't know. You didn't know. Let me show you. That one's Daisy. She's too fat to jump from the ground up here. So I had to give her a helping hand today. Say hello, Daisy. She just got a haircut Monday. And Lily, I'll show you Lily in a minute. I don't know where Lily went. Lily's our red one. She went somewhere. She'll probably go eat a bug or something. But, yeah, I will tell you, yeah, we had a privacy fence. But what I did, just as an extra precaution, is I put no trespassing signs on my privacy fence. So just in case somebody jumped my fence and got into my pool, I had it documented that nobody was supposed to be back there. How cute are the doggies, the fur babies? She's maybe 8.5. So the black one is the oldest, 6 months older. The red one, which you haven't seen yet, I'll show you. Hey, I'm not picking you up again. They're 6 months apart. So, oh, there's Lily. I'm sorry. Here, I'll show you Lily. She's sitting on her bed. Hi, Lily. Lily. See how fat she is? That dog has some hips on her, doesn't she? It looks like the back end of a dump truck. You doing all right, Lily? Well, that's her favorite spot to hang out, is on her little bed there. She hangs out. So that's what we did. So we barely got 3 months out of a pool. That's why, even in Alabama, I don't think I would own another swimming pool. Ours was a saltwater pool. I converted it, which is the only way to go. If you're ever going to have a pool, have a saltwater. But I don't think we would ever own a pool again. Too much liability, too much issue. Henry says, well, I got to get back on my engine while I have light still. Take care, everybody. All right, Henry. Maybe we can hook up while we're down in Alabama. So stay in touch. Maybe we can figure out how to get dinner one evening. So, so yeah, I don't think we would own another. Now, we were down in like southern Florida, where you could use it 10 months out of the year, 11 months, 12 months out of the year round. All right, but it's just too much work. I mean, I had this big cover I had to get out every year and put on it and take it off and clean it, and it's just a lot of freaking work. So, yeah, I know a lot of people around this part of the country who I know knew that we had a pool and have always asked me, what do you recommend? I've had a lot of friends go, man, we're really thinking about getting a swimming pool, and we know that you've had one for years. And I tell them point blankly, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't recommend it. I know you got kids and you think they're going to enjoy it, and they're going to enjoy it in the short term, but what are they going to do in the long term? Once they you're going to enjoy it. You're going to spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to put a pool in the ground and get 3 months of use out of it, and then not including the carrying costs, the extra electricity, the chemicals for the pool, and or the salt generator, whatever you're doing. So a lot of people don't think about the carrying cost of things. It's the carrying cost is what kills you. Yeah, a lot of maintenance. And our swimming pool had a great surface where it never got hot. But I had to pressure wash it and clean it, and we had a beautiful yard. I put a pergola up. We had a barbecue area separate from the house, and we had it all landscaped nicely. And I put a lot of work into it, and I enjoyed it. But I was a lot younger. Now that I'm old and disabled, that's the reason we sold that house, because I couldn't keep up with all the work that needed to be done around the house. Couldn't do it. So we gave that house up. But it was a beautiful home. But now we're older, and Lorelai and I are married, and she likes gardening better. She's not really a swimmer. Filipinas aren't real big swimmers. They live on islands, but they don't seem to swim a lot. They wade around in the water, but they don't seem to swim a whole lot, which is kind of funny. So we don't have a need for a pool. So we would never do one again, never. I would rather have a big old garden taking up all this space back here. See? All this space. In our new house, I have a vision of putting raised beds, in different shapes, like, putting them to where you can make this great big area full of different raised beds with walkways and places to sit. So I have that big vision in my head about what I want to do in our final house. And part of it is so that I can easily get to the raised beds. Hey, Cricket's here. Cricket, how are you, my friend? It's been a while. Good to see you. Thank you for the thumbs up, which I know you gave us. Thank you. Appreciate you. Everybody say hello to Cricket. Cricket, say hello to everybody. So, over the years as you grow, your taste changes, your desires change, your needs change. And I need to go fishing more. The older I am, the less I don't work anymore because I'm worthless. Nobody would hire me. So the only thing I can really do is garden lightly and go fishing. And I want to live in an environment where I can do that. Here we can't garden because of the damn, the temperatures and the storms. And the fishing's not good in my part of the country either. So we should have never came back to this part of the country, but we did because we had this house underway, and it was just easy to come back to it. But now we need to get it ready to sell. After we get back from Alabama, looking at neighborhoods and all of that stuff, then we're going to get serious about timeline and what we're going to do. So we're going to wind up spending a couple $1,000 going to Alabama because we got to rent an Airbnb for the week. And a lot of driving around, eating out, just travel stuff. Pat's in the house. Everybody say hello to Pat. Pat, say hello to everybody. How are you this evening, Pat? I hope you're having a wonderful day in your part of the country. So that's what we're hoping for. Doing good. We're hoping for maybe an older house that has a much bigger area to live in. The only time I dislike about fishing is taking the fish off the hook and jumping around. I don't like that. Yeah, Nisha's in the house. Everybody say hello to Nisha, please. And Nisha, say hello to everybody. Well, there's a technique to it, and obviously if you don't fish much, you don't know that there's actually a technique to how to unhook fish. The way you hold them and grab them and the way that you unhook them. There's techniques to it that makes that easier and better. But it can still be funny and messy, and that's part of the fun of catching fish is getting home and smelling like a stinky fish. So I love to fish, and I mean it. I love to sit like this. My dream would to have and I keep asking people on the internet to donate to me so that I could buy an intercoastal water house, but nobody seems to do it. Because I want to be able to sit on my back dock and fish on a canal or intercoastal waterway and just sit there and fish in the evenings, in the mornings. If I wake up early like I do sometimes, walk down to the pier to my little thingy and get out there and fish. When it gets hot or I get bored, I go in the house. That's my dream. It's probably not going to happen, but that's my dream. I enjoy feeding them. The hook, I know, is colorful marshmallow. Yes, a lot of fish, believe it or not, like marshmallow. Daisy, your nose is dirty. They do like those marshmallow baits, and usually cold water fish where you guys are like those. The simplest thing to do is to use worms. Oh my goodness, Daisy. Come on. Sanders is in the house. Nisha says hello, Pat. Pat saying hello to Nisha. Just saying hello. I still got like 26 minutes before I get off work. Well, we appreciate the support, Sanders. If you guys haven't subscribed to Sanders' channel, please do. All right. Oh my God, I'm not picking you up again. I'm not picking that dog up again and putting her on the chair. That's it. Last time. As soon as I picked her up, she ran off. Not doing it again. Sanders. Well, I'm finally getting a day where I can just sit outside and enjoy. I don't have my normal area set up yet. It's still dirty out here. But at least we got some fresh air today. We had sunshine earlier. And we got a lot done around the house. I got a lot done. Lorelai's at work, of course, making money so I can spend it. Another thing that's kind of weird is, but we like to fish. Lorelai, my wife, likes to fish. Well, we have to go back to the Philippines. I think James is, I was just thinking of you, James. Late 26 or early 27, we have some business to take care of about the land we own. So we got to go back. Other than that, I don't know. We don't have any immediate thoughts of going, hey, let's go to vacation in the Philippines. We've been there, done that. We've lived there. We vacationed there. We want to go. We don't mind. We may live there again someday. But right now, we want to do more cruises in America. We want to travel to other places versus the Philippines. James says, looking good to me, David. Me or the house? Me or the outdoors? No, my outdoor area is still really dirty. About another week or so, I'll get the pressure washer out here, and I will wash the entire back of the house and the front of the house with the pressure washer. I do it every year. I wash the concrete, I wash the walls, the windows, I'll wash all of my furniture out here, my fire pit. I'll get everything cleaned up for the new year, the barbecue grill, everything. So I'm a little weird about that, but I like to, one, it's good exercise. It's not hard work, so I can physically do it. But it's, I don't know, I like things to be clean. Where are some of you? Oh, dream vacations? Oh my gosh. You're talking about dream vacations? Man, I can tell you. Your outdoor area looks good to me, and of course, you look good too. Woohoo! Well, James, that's why we're trying to convince you, when we get settled in Alabama, to pack up from California and come live in Alabama where we live. And Lorelai and I can hang out with you and look after you. Man, Crystal, I'll tell you, we got dreams of vacations. If we won the lottery and I could get James to come out here and babysit my dogs while I go on all these vacations, we would go to Greece, God, Italy. I mean, we'd go everywhere. Australia, New Zealand, back to Aruba, cruises. Yeah, if we had the money, yeah, I'm telling you, I mean, we've been a lot of places, and so we've been really blessed. But we'd like to go on a Mediterranean cruise. We love cruise ships. We love cruises because it's so easy and cheap. You go there, they treat you like kings. There's food everywhere. You don't got to worry about cleaning anything or getting anywhere. Dollar for dollar, cruise ships are the best vacation there. So we would take cruises everywhere. We love cruises. Pat says, hard to understand. Elegant City starts with Del Norte. Okay. Forget James, I would babysit your fur babies. Your place sounds fun. Oh, good. See, we need somebody. We don't have anybody now. I'll tell you some stories. I mean, my niece, but she doesn't live in the area anymore. We had one niece that we trusted, but she got married and had a family, and she didn't want to come stay here at our house and watch our dogs. But she used to do it for us, and then we hired a friend's daughter to come and do it, and she threw a party at our house and stole about $10,000 in jewelry of Lorelai's. So we don't really have anybody we feel, right now we don't have it and even in the family, I don't have any family here. I don't have any family at all. I could take them to Dallas and my brother might watch them, but it would be a burden for them. Eagle City, Manila, Del Norte. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing all that right, Pat. Is that where you're going to go? That's your target city? Yeah, when we go back, we're going to go directly to Cebu, then we got to go up to Bogo, which is north in Cebu where our land is. And we got friends that we got to see while we're there. And so we'll be in Cebu, something up and down the coast in Cebu. I looked after my old roommate's dog and her plans while she went to the Cabot Trail. Nice. So yeah, I mean, and we're kind of particular with our dogs. We don't leave them at home for more than 24 hours alone. Crystal, Lynn, Don, James is giving you a thumbs up and giving you a ooh face. Or I don't know what that emoji is. It's too small for me. I need new glasses. We spent a lot of money this month already, but I need to go get some new glasses. Between booking the Airbnb and putting new tires on my truck, we've spent a lot of money. So I need to get new glasses, James. Lana Dorte, have Lorelai look that up for me, Brother David. Can't get the spelling correctly. Try to understand what that's about. Are you talking about, Pat, are you talking about the president being arrested through the international court system? Is that what you're talking about? She brought me back lobster, ooh, and sweater. The lobster was delicious, yes. Somebody stole your sweater, but at least you got to eat lobster. Brother David, we have a video on Facebook. I can explain it a little bit better. All right. But wait. David, I remember one of those, let me adjust my phone, videos you were showing the glasses that you picked out. I believe it was last year or before that. Yeah, I did videos on getting these glasses, and these are actually about 2.5 years old, James. So I skipped last year, so I'm kind of behind. I really like these frames. I just want to get new lenses because I like these frames. These are Oakley frames. You can see that, but I like how clear they are. They're the only glasses I've ever had that I haven't broken. So I'm hoping Del Norte. Okay. So yeah, we can look that up and study that for you, Pat. We sure can. So maybe I'll do a new video about getting glasses this year. I need to go down to the eye, make the eye doctor appointment, get a new prescription, and then I'm going to check to see how much the lenses are. But I'm going to shop around. I paid a lot of money for these, and I think I overpaid. Exactly, and I had the opportunity to apply some of the things she taught me. I do miss her and her family, great neighbors and good people. Yeah. We've been blessed that we've had a lot of good people in and out of our lives. And I would like to think, to be honest, that other people feel blessed that we've come in and out of their lives. Because one thing I talk about, which is kind of a deep subject, is Crystal, and you might appreciate this knowing your channel and what you do, is relationships aren't all about ourselves. So I've had relationships, friendships, however you want to call them. I'm just going to use the word relationship for the overall picture of knowing somebody. Where when I look back upon it, I lost. If you wanted to look to see who made it out better, them or me, I've had relationships where I've come out the loser in the deal, if you want to measure it. But if you stop and think about a higher power or a belief system or the world, then maybe it was my turn to lose so that that person can benefit because they needed what I offered way more than I needed what I was losing. So even though I feel like I lost, maybe it was designed by the system, your whatever belief system you have, that went to them because their need was greater than my need. All right, Daisy, here's what I'm going to do, Poo-Poo. I'm going to move that cushion. All right, and you can get your own fat butt up in that chair. All right. Man, I never thought I would work for a dog. I think my dogs think they own me. So that's what I think about relationships. It's not about what do they bring to the table in a relationship. And it's not about what you get out of relationships sometimes. It's about what you give in a relationship. Because I look at it in the past now, being much older and wiser, I would like to think that, okay, so maybe I lost a whole bunch of money by helping and supporting them or doing this or doing that. Or maybe I lost a whole bunch of time by doing all of this. But maybe the higher power is like, well, that's what you were supposed to do at that point in time. So relationships doesn't, it's not all about just benefiting you. I can relate to that somewhat regarding relationships. I wouldn't have thought of it that way. So thank you for sharing your experience. Oh yeah. And, but I believe that it's because I've been in, some situations that did not work out well for me. But I stop and go, well, there had to be a reason for it not to work out, more so than me just being dumb. I might be an idiot. I may be dumb. I may be blind. But there had to be a reason for all of that to happen. And if they truly, if the world meant for them to benefit more from me than I benefited from them, and we benefit in different ways. And so a lot of people think of friendship or relationships as kind of like, well, what is the benefit? A lot of times we don't know what it is. Maybe it's not until later on in life when you're not around that person that you benefit it by learning, and you learn things in every relationship you're in. We learn, we grow. So whoever we bump into in our life shapes us. And I know that for sure. The people I've been involved with, relationships, worked with, everything has dramatically shaped my life. Maybe I've shaped theirs, I don't know. But I know that, and so that's what it is. And you may not recognize this for a long time. You may not see, you may have a boyfriend, right? And you guys go out for 3 or 4 months, and then he cheats on you, and you dump him, which is, you should. If you get cheated on, dump him. Don't give him a second chance. Cheater's a cheater. So you dump them, you're heartbroken, you're devastated, but I promise you, there's something in those 3 months and that experience that will shape your life that you learn from. Maybe it's learn to watch for the red flags better. Well, that's a skill. That's something that you received out of that relationship that can benefit you in the future. The older we get, the wiser we get. Wise people learn from, and I don't want to call things your mistakes. If you want to say mistakes, fine. I've made a lot of mistakes. I just consider them bad decisions. I've never made a mistake. I've just made a whole lot of bad decisions. And bad decisions that have cost us a financial fortune, and wasted a lot of my years, to be honest. So, look, I made a lot of bad decisions. But there are tangible takeaways from those bad decisions. One, I know not to make them again. I learned how to slow my roll, how to steady myself and go, wait a minute, we got to really think this through. It's what we made mistakes living in the Philippines. We made mistakes selling a house, buying a house. We made mistakes in our marriage. I made mistakes a whole bunch before I got married. I dated a lot of women I should have never dated. I wasted my time and energy on a lot of people I should have never done that. But there has to be a reason for it. You can't just say, it's because I was an idiot. Heck, no boyfriends. I was in a marriage since 1998 to 2018. Wow, that's a long time. And I'm not going down that road ever again. I just want to forget that part of my life existed. It was painful. I understand. And I'll tell you this, Lorelai and I, my wife, we've only been married 10 years, going on 11. Now, I'm old, but I would say this. If Lorelai passed away, I would never get remarried again. And it's not that I have anything against marriage. Marriage is a different life versus being single. It's a harder life than being single. It's more challenging than being single. And at my age, I don't want to go through this again. I don't want to blend two people anymore. Or I wouldn't have to go through that. We don't have to do it now because we're blended. I don't want to go through that process of blending two people again. I don't want to do it at this age. I would never do it. I would just be that old single guy that lives in a trailer down by the water. But Crystal, what I will say about your marriage is you were in a marriage for a long time. It was a bad one. It ended badly, obviously. But, I know the but word, right? Somewhere along the road, you became a better person. You found your strength, encouragement, You found yourself because you're no longer married. No matter what he did, it doesn't matter. Whether he walked out the door and disappeared and you were able to recognize and become a better person for it. So the hell we go through makes us better. That's what I tell everybody. And I believe this. There has to be a reason that we go through all of this hardship and disaster in our lives. All of this heartbreak that we go through, there has to be a reason for it. What is the reason? We don't know, but I know there's one if you look around for it. Where are you from, Sherilyn? She's up in Canada, Alberta, Canada, Pat. I believe I'm still finding the strength within. Absolutely. And that never ends. That's one thing people think. Oh, well, I don't have strength within. Well, yeah, you do. You just got to find it and use it. And here's one thing I will tell you. Our strength within, whatever you want to call that, the inner inside of us is like a muscle. What happens when I don't use this muscle very much, but what happens if I quit using my arm, right? If I can no longer use my arm, this muscle, what happens to it? It dies. It becomes apathy, right? So the inner within, the person who we are, the strength that we need to carry on, the strength we need to stand up tall and proud is a muscle. If we don't do it and exercise it and use it, we lose it. So it's something that has to be exercised and used all the time. Pat says, sorry, he understands. My name is not Cheryl, it's Crystal. I did have a babysitter whose name was Cheryl, Christine Herbert, though. That's funny. Am I calling you Cheryl or I'm calling you Crystal? I hope I'm calling you Crystal. Pat says his spelling thing is all messed up. Yeah, we know that, Pat. So, but Crystal, I don't know what you think about that. Do you think there's truth in what I say about the inner person with us has to be exercised? If we don't exercise it, then it just dies. It needs to be exercised. It wants to be exercised. But there's a reason everything happens. Now, he benefited from your marriage more than you did. Or look, maybe there's a third party that benefited. For instance, and I'm just going to hypothetically, let's say, for instance, your husband had parents who were good people, and the son wasn't a good guy, but the parents were decent people. And maybe throughout the years of knowing them, you helped them. You eased their burden. I've been in a situation like this. I realized that the person I was dealing with really didn't get any benefit. But there are external people, second and third and fourth generation people removed from him that got benefit from the relationship that we had. I was addressing Pat comments. I know. I was just making sure that I do okay. Because I screw up a lot. So it's kind of like, okay, like let's say if you're dating a girl with kids and you date them and maybe it's the kids that benefit from you, Crystal, or guy, whatever. So maybe you have a stepchild and that stepchild is the one that truly benefits. Now you suffer, maybe the husband could give a rat's butt, but maybe the child gets something from you that they're going to take with them for the rest of their life. And that's one thing I've learned to do the older I get is to try to take away something from everything, negative and positive. And when something really positive happens, I look for a negative to go with it because it has to be balanced. So you have to think about it this way. Maybe it was the dog who benefited. Maybe it was a grandmother who benefited from getting to know you. And maybe you would smile and make her happy. It could be as simple as that. Crystal says, I believe a lot of people benefit from the union. I had come to think of that there was and still is a lot of forgiveness that needs to happen. Yeah. The I don't know. I I don't know about the forgiveness thing. Here's kind of, you know, I think forgiveness is overrated. And maybe I'm saying it wrong or meaning it wrong, but one, you have to let it go. Forgive yourself, I guess. You have to say, okay, I'm not going to let them live in my head anymore. I am not going to give them rent or space in my brain and my heart, in my life anymore. I'm not going to do it. And that's on me, right? That's on us, everybody. If we allow somebody in our head, it's on us. It's not them. We can forgive Johnny Appleseed for planting too many apple trees, right? But Johnny Appleseed doesn't care if I forgive them, right? You know what I mean? They don't care. They don't really, until they're at that point where they want forgiveness, they don't care. It means nothing to them that you're forgiving them. So I think it's important not to worry about forgiving, but healing and moving on. Accepting it for what the reality was at the time, not that what it is today. Yesterday is gone, tomorrow has not been written, and today we're living it. And that's all we can do. When people have done really bad things to me, I've learned over the years, I can hold on to it or I can let it go and move on. And I do that a lot. I've done that. I've been blessed enough, I guess, to go, okay, it's like picking a battle, with my wife, right? Okay. So, she wants to grow vegetables. All right, well, we don't really have a spot for vegetables. But instead of fighting this battle and say, no, you can't grow vegetables, whatever. Okay, you can grow vegetables, It's the same thing with people in our lives that are no longer in our lives or that are negative in our lives. We have to make the decision to put them over there. That's our job. That's on us. It's not on anybody else. It's us. And that's what I do with people. I got family members that have done bad things. Okay. I'm not going to interface with them anymore. I'm not going to talk to them. I'm not going to deal with them. I'm going to move on from them. Whether they're hung up on it and still talking about it, I could give a rat's butt. True, I see what you're saying, but even letting go, it's hard to do because there's part of you that's like, well, these are the people who raised me, sort of speaking. Well, correct. But didn't we all raise you? Aren't we raising you right now? So I'm going to give you another little example. I got a friend who had a son, and he's dead. The son's dead. The friend's a dick. The son's dead. He's mean and he's violent to his children. And his son came to work for me before he died when I was teaching, at the college as a part-time job. And him and I got into a deep conversation one day about how bad his dad was, my friend. And I told him, I said, now look, here's what I'm going to tell you. You take the good from every bad relationship, and then you dump the bad. You choose who you're going to be, is what I would tell him. I said, do you want to be like your dad or do you not? If you don't want to be like your dad, don't be like your dad. If you don't want all that stuff that was bad during your raising, you discard that. You take all of the good that came out of them raising you those many years of your marriage, and you hang on to that. And that's good, and you cherish that. And you think about that, and you dwell upon that, and you smile about that, and you laugh about that. And you don't give any time, any of your precious time, to the bad of all of that. How did you begin to move on? Can you share your experience? Well, I think it came down to this. I just didn't want to be unhappy. I didn't want them taking up space in my life. You know, I can either sit in this chair, and dwell upon the past, the bad things, or I can decide who I want to be, what I want to do. And that's kind of what I did. I'm like, okay, I get it. It happened. Shit happens. I was involved in it too. Some of it's probably my fault. I get it. All right. That was then. Now is now. Pat saying hello to HTN. So I think it was just the decision. I made a conscious decision. I made the conscious decision. I sat down and said, where do I want to be tomorrow? I am finding there are times when my past collides with my past, what's occurred to my children, and then it does not allow me to let go. Well, Pat says, just listening helps to educate. All right, Pat. Well, we're trying. I think this, and you guys have probably heard me say this before. Positive equals positive. Negative equals negative. Simple psychology. Positive equals positive. Negative equals negative. If you give negativity attention, then that validates the negativity. And so there's times where you just got to smile and keep going. It's kind of like, I told somebody the other day, we were talking about this. Maybe this will help. We all know that, look, in the business world, if we don't document something, then it didn't happen, right? So it's the same thing in a relationship about negativity or bad things. If we don't recognize it, meaning not documenting it, then it's not going to affect us. You don't invite it into your brain, your heart. You just move along with the current, but you don't let the negative in. The Gabe is in the house, says hello, Pat. So let me see here. So what you're saying, Crystal, is things have happened to your children and they're kind of stuck. Is that what you're saying? Or the negativity comes back up, right? Now, in this situation, it's kind of a strange situation. And I'm not a parent, all right? Good to see y'all all too. Thank you, Gabe, for coming in. I'm not a parent. But what I'm going to tell you is, so you validated documentation, you validated the negativity, right? And we can't do anything about the past. All you can do is not validate the negativity going forward, okay? So look, the negativity that happened and that you acknowledged, you just got to keep moving forward. The further time heals all wounds, the further you get from it, the easier it gets. Now look, as a mother, and I know this is kind of counterintuitive, but as a mother, your job is to be a dumping ground for your children's pain. But you can't, you have to be the sounding board. You have to be the one that they won't judge them, that they can lean on and count on, which is hard because we got to be really tough. And we got to compartmentalize this. But that's our job, and it's part of the healing process. The Gabe says, hello, Crystal. Can I spell Crystal or Lynn? Yes, I think you can, Gabe. You're doing fine. Gabe, you like deer meat? Ever been hunting before? I have not. So, when a child brings up something negative that happened to them, that's the healing process. You got to go through the healing process with them. But what you need to do when that negativity comes in, when the child, if this happens, comes up and says, I remember blah, 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 and, it really hurts me, and you got to hear them out. You got to let them get it all out. You got to get all the yuck out. You got to get all of the garbage out. Let them get that out. And then you turn around immediately and give them positivity. It's going to be okay. You have my love, my support. Look, all these great people you have around you, the great environment. All the future is yours to ride on. That's what you do. You let the anger, you get the negativity, you spit it out, and then you recognize it, and you immediately start talking about positive things. Let's see. Pat says, my son likes that, Gabe. I want to go hunting. Yeah, hunting's good. Hunting's fun. It's a big thing in America and Canada. Pat, you have to meet my son sometime, Gabe, from Columbus, Indiana. Yes. I hope to do that someday. I think Gabe is down in Texas, if I remember right. I don't have contact with my children, and the reason is because I never had that closure in my own past. So that's most likely where my pain comes from. All right. So here's how I see this. And you may not agree with this. Here's how I see it. It's your job as the parent to always reach out to the children. And I know maybe the children, I don't know what the situation is, but if the children don't, because it's part of the healing process, I believe this. In order to get through the pain, depending on where the children is, maybe by reaching back to the children, reaching out to the children, you all can heal through the pain, through the negativity. Because you got to know, do you think they want to see their mother? I'm just asking questions. Do you think they want to see your mother? Would they like to hear from you? Do you think their perspective of what happened years ago is different than it is now? I got a friend, and I'll tell you this story, who many thousands of years ago was married. They had 2 kids. They got a divorce because he caught her cheating, and she was a drinker. Well, they got a divorce. He moved away, and as the children got older, she turned them against him. So the mother turned the children against my friend. And this went on all through their teenagers, through 20s and 30s. And he had long made another life in another part of the world, doing great. He had a new wife, a happy life, all of that good stuff. Very successful in his world. He had always dreamed that someday maybe his children would know the truth about him. But his children wanted nothing to do with him because mama told him how bad he was, that he was all these horrible things. Until one day when he happened to have a conversation with his sister or this person, and that person was having a conversation with his son. And so it was maybe 4 degrees of separation. The son realized after a while, after about a year, that dad wasn't the bad guy in this. That what happened in their marriage 25, 30, 40 years ago had nothing to do with who we are today. It's not who the 40-year-old son is today. He wasn't the same person as the teenager. The dad's not the same person as he was. The mother's not the same person as she was. So now it's time, if you want, to move forward. No, I believe, being honest, my children were coerced and again turned on me. Of course they were. Of course. Now, here's the thing. When they're under the control of the controlling spouse, living in the same household, there's not a lot you can do. My friend didn't talk to his kids until they were, roughly about 30, 35 years. And now they have a pretty good relationship because the adult children now know, wait a minute, life isn't as simple as mama said it was, because we've experienced all of this. You know what I mean? We've gone through our own drama as adults. We've had our own relationships and breakups and problems. So they start to see the truth in people. I guess you did. He's looking for friends, Gabe. Oh, good. They should be friends. Yes, Gabe, you should be. He wants to be friends. Yes. What's coerced? It means manipulated, tricked, or when somebody is telling you all the time to do one thing, or or they're telling you like President Trump's bad, President Trump, just over and over and over, and you're only given one side of a story. That's being coerced, meaning always being reminded, oh no, your dad is bad, Gabe, your dad is bad. And then once you start believing, because I'm going to tell you this 1,000 times, that's being coerced. Crystal, I can, again, relate to that. Even with my children, I was told my things about my own biological father. Didn't agree with what that was being told at the time. See? So don't give me the exact age of your children, but roughly how old are your children? Gabe, I will try to chat him, but I can't right now. Okay. My son don't have YouTube, Gabe. He likes to have friends to hang out with. Well, you have to go. Y'all have a best day. Okay, Gabe, take care. Bye, everybody. See you, Gabe. Appreciate you. Thank you for explaining that to Gabe. Oh, yeah. Anytime. Yeah. I try to explain it because, Gabe's a young person. So I want to try to explain it there. So the real question is, and look, and this is something I talked to my friend about, is when the kids still hated him, he would send them birthday cards. He would send them Christmas cards. Whether they liked it or not, he did it because he didn't want that avenue to break. He didn't want to be the one who didn't try. So he says 9 through 24. I have 9 kids. Wow, Crystal, that's a lot of kiddies. 9 to 24. Okay, so look, you want to know what I would do, Crystal? I'll give you my advice. The older ones, I would reach out to, email them, message them on Facebook, send them a birthday card to their address, Christmas cards, thoughtful little thing saying, hey, just want you to know that your mama is thinking about you, been thinking about you. I think about you every day, and I hope you have a great birthday, whatever it is. Because I think it's the parent who needs to keep that door open. We can't control whether the children step through it or not, but they need to know that there's a door open. And the 24-year-old, right? He's already had his heart broken, I bet you. He's had girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever, He's been through. He's had jobs and maybe got fired and had drama and bull crap. So he's starting to see, oh, wait a minute, the world is not as simple as I thought it was when I was 12 years old. So he's maturing and growing and realizing that the world's much bigger and it's not black and white. So it's a great opportunity to start with the oldest children and proceed from there. That's what I recommend if you want to have that. And you don't got to bring up the past. And I would never bring up the past. Never. I would never say anything about the past when I would do this. I would just simply send birthday and Christmas cards and let them know that the door is open for communications. I don't have contact with them on Facebook, as I do not have Facebook. I have issues with fake accounts, so yeah, it's not easy avenue, to be honest. That's okay. Well, don't do Facebook. A lot of people do it. If you can find their home addresses, send them a birthday card or just send them a card thinking of you, and simply say, look, I think of you. You may not believe this, but I miss you and I think of you every day. All you got to do is send little notes. Leave your phone number and email. That's it. You just do that to the kids, especially the older ones. And the younger ones, I would wait a little bit and work with the older kids first. Now, it's okay to send the young ones birthday cards. And if you want to do that, that's great. I wouldn't try to buy the little ones gifts. I would just send them birthday cards. That's my advice from my experience of watching others. Because you got to remember, I don't have kids. But I've seen so many other families in the same type of relationship that you're in, that you've been in, that you've gone through. And I've seen what worked and doesn't work. And I really believe it's the parent's duty as a parent to keep that door open, even if it's just this much, so that The children know. That's what my friend did. So his children knew that, hey, I could open that door if I wanted to, even if it just cracks a little bit. The courts did not have it set up as supervised visitation in the beginning of the process for the 5 of them, but the ended once the court orders were broken. Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, whether you have supervised visitation or no visitation, sending birthday cards, opening the older ones, of course, if they're above 18, none of that matters anymore anyway. So the younger ones, send them birthday cards. It's really my recommendation. Send them little things or little notes, letting them know that you're thinking of them. That's the best thing you can do. The older ones, you got a better chance of that. But I promise you, every one of them wonders where their mom is. What's mom up to? I wonder how she's doing. Is she doing okay? Is she better now? Is she worse now? Does she have a job? Is she, they wonder. I promise you, the children wonder about you. If they bring it, and they probably talk about you amongst themselves. Maybe not to dad, because dad would badmouth you, maybe. I don't know. But they probably talk to you. Maybe they, and I don't know if you have any living parents yourself that are their grandparents. That's another way to keep that door open, is by having grandparents sending stuff and connecting with the children. But that's part of my thought on that, to be honest. And I think you can do it if you want to do it. But I do think that helps you heal. Now it's going to open up old wounds a little bit. But look, you can't heal that wound until you get rid of that wound. All right? The older ones were trying to get custody of their siblings. Nice, good. But that didn't plan out at the time as well. Okay, all right. Well, do you think the older ones would want to hear from you? And what I would say about that, I wouldn't care if they want to hear from me or not. I would send them. I would contact them, know whether they wanted it or not, to be honest. And I wouldn't expect much, and I wouldn't pressure them, but I would crack that door open and said, but do you think they would be receptive to hearing from you at all? Because you don't know what they're thinking at this age. They're probably worried about their siblings. And so maybe the older ones and you can have a united front into trying to help out the younger kids, right? And if you had demons that you needed to work through yourself, and if you've done that and you're doing that, then they would like to know that. That's something that would be good for them to know. And I don't know if you do or you don't, and it's not really important for this conversation. But, if you did have demons, if a parent was a drug addict or an alcoholic or had this or had that going on, and they were self-destructing themselves, once they got done self-destructing and they're starting to heal themselves, one of the ways to heal is to mend some of those relationships. And look, it may never be the greatest. It may never be the greatest with your children. But mending that as you get healed and you get better yourself, it's a positive action. It's a positive projection, right, as you go up. So it may not be an easy upward, but it's all positive. So you just keep being positive, keep doing positive, and positive results will happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow when you do it, but positive results will happen if you keep pushing forward. No, I don't, because they would have reached out by now and would have remained in contact as well as I did write all of my kids. But that was just as far as it. Now, Crystal, I'm going to tell you I think you're wrong. I'm going to tell you point blankly I think you're wrong. Your children are probably sitting there because it's your duty. You're the mother, right? You're the mama. You're the mama. You're the one. You're the leader. You're the adult. You're the mom. You're the one that has to keep trying to reach out to them. They're probably sitting there going, well, why doesn't mom contact us? Does she hate us this much? Or we're this big of a burden? You don't know the drama that's going on in their heads about you. They may be sitting there just going, God, I think mom must hate us. She must hate us horrible. I know she hates dad, and so that must just trickle right down to us. And so, whether you like it or not, Crystal, I tell the truth on this channel. I give my opinion. I don't know if it's the truth or not. I give my opinion. I think your thinking's wrong. I think you, the adult, the mother, has to be the one who keeps that door open, not them. It's not their duty, their responsibility to keep that door open. Yeah, and how did that work, Crystal? How did that work for you? That's a question. I'm not trying to be smart ass. Maybe it came across like that, Crystal. But how did that work out for you? Ask yourself that. If it didn't work out very well, then remember that old saying, doing the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. If it didn't make you happy, why in the hell would you want to do it now? I'm not gonna. When I bang my head against the wall, it hurts. So I know not to do it. You know what I mean? If it didn't work, Pat says, "You're right, Brother Dave." Thank you, Pat. We appreciate the support. But my dad was a dickhead. He was abusive. And one of the reasons I never had kids because I didn't want to turn out to be like him. But some of my other family members made a conscious decision not to be like him when they had their kids. I didn't have kids because one, I just not into kids. But I got a brother who went, look, I actively made sure I wasn't like dad because I didn't like what happened to us as kids. So I was not going to put my own kids through that. How did that work out for me? Well, it caused a lot of pain. Yes. So so think about that. If it caused you a lot of pain, what do you think is going on in your children's lives? Because you're looking at it only from one side of the story. It's like I told you earlier, in a relationship, you don't know who you're benefiting. Now, that's in any relationship, positive or negative. There's going to be first degree, second or third degree people that may benefit greatly from a relationship. Well, you're not having a relationship now, so you're definitely having a not is what? Not and no, none are negative words. So there's going to be a negative action result from negative words, negative actions. Now, it may be painful, and it may take, and let me say this colloquially, it may take you to have a gigantic set of balls on you to open that door by writing your children and just saying, hey, I'm thinking of you. I think of you every day, and I just want you to know that I love you. That's all you got to do. And it may take more gumption, more fortitude, and more estrogen than you can imagine it to do that. But that's what I would recommend you do. I would. It's not your son's fault or your daughter's fault, the 24-year-old, whoever's, it's not his duty to get his mother to talk to him, to like him, to love him. It's not that. It's yours. You're the mama. I'll tell you another funny one. I'll tell you this one. I got a brother. I got a lot of brothers, but I only talk to one because everybody else hates me because I won't give them my money. So at the same time, though, you can't keep allowing others to benefit all the time, as I am the only one on my journey. They are also on theirs. That's correct. That's correct. I'm not saying that you open that door so wide that you become a doormat. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you're opening the door for a positive relationship. If they want to come back, now look, you may have to take a little bit of abuse, a little bit of gump. I'm just going to give you a scenario. We're going to run through this. So let's say I got a 24-year-old son, and this bullshit has happened, and he thinks I'm evil, and it's all gone to hell. All gone to hell. And he won't talk to me, and I won't talk to him. Well, let's say I send that message. I open that door. Now, if he comes back and wants to open that door bigger with negativity and viciousness, One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to let him say whatever he wants to say. I'm going to do it until he runs out of gas, until he can't call me any more names at all because he's out of gas. And I'm going to let him go and go for his benefit. And then I'm going to go back to being me. I'm going to leave the door open, not like this, like it was when he's calling me everything in the world. I'm going to put it back like this. And on his birthday, I'm going to send him a birthday card. I may not talk to him in between unless he reaches out to me. But I'm going to let him vent and let him go and run out of gas, as I call it, to get all that anger and yuckiness out of his system. And it may just land right on you. But as a strong human being that you're becoming, you can handle that for his benefit. It doesn't mean you got to take it to heart and then you discard it. You put it here, you put it in a ball, and you throw that viciousness, that nastiness into the trash, and you get it out of your system. And you sit and go, okay, what positive came out of that? It was so hurtful to me that my son said all of these things to me, but it got it out of his system. That's the positive. And now that I know that that's what that meaning of that was his anger towards me. His vision is towards me because of everything that happened, that he has a right to feel that's out of him, then it truly wasn't attack on me. He didn't attack me. He got the yuckiness out of him. And then as the dad, I would simply say, well, son, I understand. I wouldn't argue with him. I wouldn't justify anything. I wouldn't try to explain anything. And I would just simply say, depending on how it winds up, simply, well, son, I appreciate you telling me everything you feel, and I'm here if you ever want to talk some more. And if he hangs up on me on the phone, I'll send him a birthday card. That's how I would do that. Now, okay, maybe to your line is this. As that door opens and they start coming to the door, I'm not saying you got to open that door and let them all the way in. I'm saying what you do, it's a two-sided relationship. You guys got to work on it. And you take it slow and easy, take it slow and easy so nobody gets hurt on either side. And, you do it like that, slow and easy. I don't know if that makes sense or if that helps you, because they are on their journey. But that doesn't mean you guys can't be on a different journey altogether. You're on a journey. My son's on his own journey. I'm on my journey. But if somehow we open the door a little bit, him and I now are on a new and different journey, is where we're at. We're going this way, and we're going to take the journey. Hopefully, it's going to be a good journey. It may be rocky and rough in the beginning because of the vial that's inside of him from what he grew up with. That is kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm giving them space, I guess, because right now I don't know where they are located, and part of that is due to safety that I am not being told. Okay, so a couple of them are adults. So, but right now, for whatever reason, you're not really allowed to see them or be in their lives, is what you're kind of saying through that. Well, there has to be somebody who knows them. And this is where I go in and say, and here's what I want to correct on you a little bit, Crystal. And I hope you don't get offended by anything I say. But let me just say that Tim's in the house. Good evening, Pack. Everybody say hello to Tim. Good to have you here, my buddy. See, right now, here's something that you said in your statement. I am giving them space. That's BS. That's garbage. When we say we're giving somebody space, that means I don't want to get involved. I'm giving my brother space. Well, that's my decision, not theirs. That's me. I made that decision. Tim says hello to everybody. Not at all, Tim. Pack May I ask, are you an American, Crystal? So I think giving people space is BS. It's a coping mechanism and it's a cop out not to deal with the issue. That's what giving space is. But with children, no, I have ancestors that are American. Crystal lives up in Canada. I don't know if we mentioned that earlier. So, Tim, how are you tonight? How are things going in the Philippines? I see that Duterte got arrested and all of that mess. So, I see a lot going on there. So, somebody has to know. Google them. Do a white pages search. I don't know if you guys have that in Canada. Go on the internet and search your son's name. You know his date of birth, right? You might even know the social security number. Go and do a little search. And you probably don't have social security numbers. I don't know in Canada. So, topic today is anything and everything and relationships and positive and negative and kids and all of that good stuff. So Tim says, I am doing good for today, so far today. So we're just talking about how do we build better relationships with family members that we don't have contact with anymore, like children who went through a divorce and a bad relationship and things like that. So how do we do better than maybe what our parents did to us? So how are we better? How, we need to do better. We need to be better. So that's what we're kind of talking about. And I think, and I've been telling that I don't care what happens in the past. Come here. Get up there and stay. I believe it's a parent's duty to keep a door open to their children no matter how much their children hate them or how much we think or the parent thinks their children hates them. I think we have to keep that door open because you're the adult in the family. Okay, let's say it this way. Somebody has to be a hero in a family. Somebody has to be the hero in a situation. And Pat says, I agree, Brother David, I had things happen to me. Yeah, I mean, we've all gone through freaking hell. Our past generations, the people that we've learned from, we learned really bad from. We didn't learn good things growing up. Oh, Daisy, you're crazy. So we didn't learn good things growing up, guys, and we all know that. We grew up with the belt and abuse and psychological and physical abuse. A lot of us grew up that way. Yes, I agree with you, but it's also the jobs of the caretakers that are caring for them to encourage those to open the door. Well, right, now, it is, but you can't do anything about that caretaker. The only thing you can do is reach out to the caretaker and send the notes of love and support to the caretaker for the children. Now if it's the dad, it is what it is. You just keep documenting that you've done it. No matter how many times you have to try to keep that door open, if you want the relationship with your children to be there, then you got to just keep doing it. That's right. Tim says, there's a hero, there will be a victim as well. That's correct. Sometimes, but how deep of a victim there is. And what I mean by being a hero is somebody, I'm more than happy to say I'm at fault. I did it. I'm wrong. Let's move on, type of thing. I'm not responsible for the kids' kinship, homes, and caretakers. And yes, that's all been documented. Okay. But no matter what, whoever the caretakers are, whatever the courts is, if your situation is set up from a legal system, maybe you send it to the courts and say, I just want to pass, here, I'm passing birthday cards on to these kids. Notes on these kids. Now, the adult ones are adults. Yes, there's a scapegoat everywhere. And I agree. Sammy YT is in the house. Yes, it's me again. I have a good relationship with my mother. Her husband, he done a lot of wrong. He asked forgiveness. Part me if I can't. Part of me can't forgive him. I got you. Well, here's something a story I'll tell you. My dad was not a good guy. I got a brother was an alcoholic, been to prison, and when he was trying in his life to get his shit together, and he did. He had been married now, great job, going to his count. I mean, doing the right things. And he finally one day, and this pissed me off. One day, I guess he came to visit in town because he doesn't live around here. My dad told me, he said, hey, your brother came and asked me to forgive him for all the bad things that he did when he was a kid. And I said, oh, well, that's great. Did you ask him to forgive you for all the bullshit you did to us when we were kids? And he looked at me like he was a deer in a headlight, like, what do you mean? So some people don't recognize what they've done. I love my mother, second husband, no matter what. Good, nice. Hey, that's a great idea. Take it to the courts and pass it through the letters and birthday cards. I like that. Good. So one, the court knows that you're trying to be a mama. You're trying to reach out to the kids, no matter how bad the situation is, that you want to be in their lives. And I think that would work. And maybe they would pass it along. Now, the older kids, obviously, they're adults. They have to be living on their own somewhere. The 24-year-old is probably married. I don't know. Tim, do you have any thoughts? So, but my dad never asked anybody to forgive him for his abuse. Probably because he never thought he did anything wrong, because that's the way his dad was. He learned from his dad. Well, in my world, it was wrong. I have to learn to forgive. Helps me not material right. Okay, you got to learn. Yeah, Pat. So I don't see. Here's my own thought on this. God is good, Pat says. So here's my thought on this. All right, phone call came in and it blocks the signal. I don't feel like I need to forgive my father at all for anything he did. You know why? Because I'm not going to let him live in my space. I'm not going to let all that negativity live in my space. I'm not going to do it. I'm not giving him or anybody else one more ounce of power over me. I'm going to be my own hero and say, no bueno, no care. I don't care. That's what I do. Not going to let them have power over me. And so I don't feel like forgiving anybody, or maybe that is forgiveness. I don't know. Maybe the way I forgive is going, okay, I'm just not going to give you space in my head or my heart. And I'm going to move on and keep going forward and keep bettering myself. Because truly the only person that we can control is us. And that's it. We can only control us. That's it. I can't control anybody else but me. And I'm going to do what I think is right, what I know is right, what I feel is right, so that I can continue to progress in a positive way. If your kids don't want to come along with you, Crystal, on this journey of betterment, then that's on them. It may take them a lot longer to come around. I mean, my friend had, 30, 35 years. It took his kids 30, 35 years to come around. But I still believe that. I think going through the courts, making that effort is what mama and papas have to do. They should do. They got to be the leader. They got to be the hero. Pat says his mom has been good to him. Exactly. That is what I'm saying by giving them some space. You're being the... What, did they tell you that they wanted space? Girls. Did they say, hey, Mom, I don't want you to talk to us anymore? I want you to give us space? If they haven't said those words, then it's not giving them space. It's making them feel bad because they don't know what's going on with Mom. Pat says, pardon me, I didn't forgive her second husband. Well, and I think that's okay. Hey, Fat? Talking to you, fat dog. So, but that's on you, Pat. If you don't want to forgive somebody, you don't have to. There's no law that says you have to. You can just simply move past it. You know, it's not like, but in a way you do. When you move past something, you are forgiving it. But everybody gets into this whole thing. Well, I got to sit down and go, okay, I got to tell myself that I'm going to forgive my dad for doing da 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 da. So here I am. I forgive, I forgive you, Dad. That's, you don't got to say those words. You don't got to do it that way. That has nothing to do with it. No, again, they were being coerced. Right. I know. I know they were being coerced, brainwashed, whatever you want to call it. That mama's bad, right? I know that. I get that. But did they ever say, Mom, we never want to talk to you again? Did they ever say, hey, don't contact us? Even if they did, let me ask you this. How long has it been since you talked to any of them? How long has it been since you had any face-to-face or verbal or communication in any way, shape, or form with any of the children? I had a social worker come down from Ottawa, to try to be a mediator, I hope, you know. But you can give them, you're not giving them space. Look, I can't give Lorelai space. Lorelai can take space. I can't give her space. She can only take it. Does that kind of make sense? Because when I say I'm giving somebody space, I'm really not doing that. I'm just doing nothing. When somebody is taking space, then that's an action that they're doing. Like, okay, Lorelai doesn't want anything to do with me. Well, she's taking the space to get away from me. 1 year, that was with the Otis who witnessed the death of her cousin. Okay, all right. So there was a tragedy in the family, and you guys spoke at that time, and it was probably a very emotional time for everybody because of the death of the family member and all of that. So how did you leave that? I mean, did you get to speak at all? Ah, Tim, share. No. This is an open dialogue, Tim. I would love to know what others think. I really would. Because just because I think it doesn't make it so. It's just how I see things, Tim. But I would love to hear everybody else, what they think about anything. I really would, Tim. Because that's how we learn, right? We learn by listening to other people's experiences and thoughts. So please feel free to share. But that's what I think. I think unless somebody says, not really, we went to the Calgary Spark and saw the Barbie display. Okay. And nothing since then. And the social workers hasn't tried to help. Nobody's tried to bridge that gap in the last year. And the kids, like I said earlier, it's not the kids who need to bridge the gap, No. Well, why not? Why not? Why not? I mean, that's the question. I mean, it's kind of like if somebody dies in our family, just for instance, and we all go to a funeral, and we meet and greet and take pictures. Hey, I haven't seen you in 5,000 years because, we only get together at funerals, blah, 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 blah. There has to be a reason that we don't stay in touch. And here's the point about this. Smart people will tell you, you choose not to stay in touch. I know, I do that. I choose not to stay in touch. And I choose to stay in touch. I choose it. Not sure, my adopted mother had said she believed it was premature that a child service acted when they did. Well, that's more than likely, and what I will tell you is I don't like child services, period. I don't like a lot of what they do in America. I don't know about in Canada. But I'm not a big fan of what we call, I think it's called Department of Human Services, I think. I don't like how they do. I'm not a big fan. So, you know, I think when you invite more, when more people get invited into a problem, the worse they make it. The more mediators, the more people with an opinion that get involved, the worse the situation becomes. Now, there comes a point in time if a child's in danger, the child has to be protected without question. But I think too many, what do they say? Too many cooks spoil the soup. It's kind of like what a relationship is. It's like a husband and wife. When you invite outsiders into your marriage, not so good, right? That's why, you know, Lorelai and I don't do that. We don't invite people into our personal business. We don't do it. We invite people in our YouTube business, our social media, our TikTok, our Instagram, and our Facebook. But that's not our inside business. We wouldn't invite anybody into that. They were asking me questions like, Crystal, do you know how to protect your children if there was an emergency? And how to get 9 children out of an emergency? Well, okay. And based on your answers, they obviously didn't like what your answers were. I'm taking it. And they obviously had different opinion than you. Yes, they will get very personal. I mean, extremely. And I think that's rude, intrusive. And I don't think it's necessary. I know they think it's necessary because you got to dig deep down and figure out what everybody's motive is, you know. But I think doing that a lot of times opens up more wounds. Here's another one. Do you, any of you who lives on a farm? Pat lives on a farm. So, oh, they ask you if you knew anybody that lived on a farm. Well, that's a strange question. They must have had a reason for it. You know, there had to be a reason for it. Maybe the husband said something about you had a drug relationship with somebody who had a farm. You know what I mean? Well, I lived in a farming community and we're all surrounded by, and that's what I would have said. Was that your answer to that? I would have said, well, I live in a farming community and we're surrounded by farms, so yes. Or maybe they were trying to figure out if you knew where you were, if you were coherent about, you know, your surroundings, if you were being cognitive. And yes, there was a reason I moved us to Big Valley, Alberta, for a reason. Yeah, there's always a reason. There's probably a good reason in your mind to do that. So you don't know what other people's motives are. So your mother bought you a house that you all can live in, and so they were probably going, okay, great. Well, you got a place to live now, but can you take care of these 9 kids? A farm is considered a safe place for people. They can sort out their feelings. Yeah, I do. I agree. I agree. Outdoor is good. I do. Farming, you know, I mean, being into nature, all of that helps without question. I'm a big believer in that too. But they must have not liked your answers. So I guess the question is, so some of them are adults now. Some of them are apparently in what we would call state custody in the United States, or custody of the government, which is sad. But they need to know that that you're not abandoning them, no matter what happened, no matter how bad things was, how things got screwed up. You know, today's a new day. And let them, you know, look, you can never, okay, let me say this. You can never go wrong by letting your children know that you love them. Children don't know this unless you tell them. Children become very insecure It's their emotional development has not matured completely yet. It's not finished. So children easily think mom and dad or uncle or Billy or the dog doesn't love them. It's something that is so easy for them to conclude by what is happening. Well, we've been taken away from mom, so mom must not love us because this government lady said you're better off living over here than with your mom because your mom can't take care of you, whatever it may be. Well, that right there tells the children, hey, you don't love me. Mom doesn't love me. And I haven't talked to mom in forever. Mom doesn't send me birthday cards. Mom doesn't do this. Mom doesn't love us. True, and I didn't ask my mom if she could find my husband and I a house on a farm, but the prices were crazy. Yeah, I can only imagine. You know, and maybe they looked at your living conditions and went, you don't have enough beds. Because I know here in the United States, and I'm not an expert, but let's say here, a single mother or a single father, if they got a boy and a girl, then they got to have at least 2 bedrooms, one for the boy, one for the girl. They got to have separate bedrooms. So maybe, and there's only, I think here, they only allow like maximum 4 in one room, of 4 boys in one room. But they got to have bunk beds and all this other stuff. So maybe they were thinking there wasn't enough space, enough room. So, Crystal, okay, so your house was good. So they had to have a reason. What was their reason? Did they tell you, hey, okay, here's why we're removing the children from your custody. We're removing them because, and they would have said that. They would have told you. But today, you can start over with your kids by going through the courts and send them birthday cards. Send them, every month, send them a little note or a letter. And don't get too crazy with it. Just, make sure the door is open, that they know, because I'm telling you, children don't know unless you tell them. Children only know what we teach them, right? They don't know fire will burn until we teach them that fire will burn. Because a 17-year-old did not want to talk to the social worker alone. Okay, that's interesting. But now your 17-year-old is probably 19, right? So that person's an adult. So it may be getting to the point where these children age out of the system. You have less and less children that are still in the system. And I'm just going to say, look, from my perspective, if there's any hope or chance of you ever having a great relationship with the minor children, the children still